Good day, respects to you. I'm transmitting to you from the Aboriginal Consular Court in Sula Tribunal, the court on planet Earth, or the tribunal that respects all nations, all peoples, and of course, organically in the sequence. This is the entity that respects nature and respects First Nation in terms of the trespass against our people. That is a memorandum. And of course, you know that the Corpus Juris 1785, Volume 20, which is the United States Corporation Company, their Pacific standing is foreign to this landmass. Now, I say that respectfully because I have to stay in sequence of how things were created before I exist. And most of the time, you have an emphasis on the collegial or the colonial body asserting themselves on someone else's land without permission. Okay. So here we have the chartered Aboriginal Consular Court and Sula Tribunal. Now, you would ask, what type of a tribunal or the style of it? Well, I would say to you that I'm performing on everything that was neglected, okay? And of course, that is a specialty, realizing that certain things have been purposeful or certain people try to evade the obligations. And there aren't any court systems that are friendly or lawfully existent when there is no relationship, or how can I put it, when there's a disconnect from a GSA, a General Service Administration, that may be pretending as some type of dictatorship. It is not. It is a service that people, if they need, they will be able to interact with what may be perceived to be government. Now, I know that there's a lot of private entities, and of course, you've gotten your money from the poor, and that's how you have built up your robotics. You have built up your technology. It's the scam of all time of what you may call colonies, or those that may perpetrate as they may be a part of a government, but undermining themselves, because we are very much aware. So how that you being an Aboriginal, a natural person, and I would tell you straight that I have already set forth the facts that are unrebuttable, that the Aboriginal title, in the last video that I was able to share with you all, you was able to get a reference to Chief Justice Lamere, and it was very much put forth within the respect for First Nation people. In the first issue, or what is standing at law, is your status. So, of course, it is finalized, and it is the law of the land that Aboriginal title, Aboriginal form of government, Aboriginal form government is superior to what you may call a colonial insert or intrusion. So the Queen of England, or those people in Britain, had asserted theirs afterwards, and it was way afterwards. And of course, you have Aboriginal rights, Aboriginal title, Aboriginal government. And of course, as I said, a collegial fraternity will not emphasize on this, because the first issue comes up is that you're under trespass. That's permanent. You have a registered agent for a reason. And even if you are a private corporation, I would say to you, you do not have to be criminal. And if you are criminal, regardless to what type of military might that you think that you have, well, you're vulnerable, because you are dependent upon life yourself. You need to eat, you need to breathe, all of those things. So you will reap what you sow. And I'm hoping that you would sow, I hope that you would sow good. Now, we have promulgated these facts, and I've transmitted to Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I want to bring to your attention that I'm the oversight, and the Aboriginal martial law officers are the good bailiffs. We are primordial. And of course, the land is forever at trust, and I respect you all. In fact, I did serve Donald Trump years ago, and he would have what the promulgation is all about. And our message was to him clearly that there are obligations. And after that, Loretta Lynch was able to correspond back with I believe at that time she was the Attorney General, when Trump came in at the first term that he had. And I put it to them very plain that the facts are in the forms of memorandums, and they are sequenced in terms of decrees. Now, at the local domestic level, you have a great seal Perserverando that Donald Trump and all agencies and bureaus on planet Earth, you being um, Caucasian or colonial, this is what you swore to, and that is forever, and I hold that bond. Now, if you're not familiar with the Universal Uniform Bonding Code, I am, and of course I enforce that. We have adopted that or have taken that on to make certain that is what Doge is trying to pretend to be. And I respect Doge, but you can't be that. Doge itself would have to present um, civil bonds that they have or that they're under. That specific young squad may not have known that, so I'm bringing that to your attention. Everybody that works in the United States, you are under a civil bond situation, and we are holding those bonds here at the Aboriginal Consular Court and Consular Tribunal. In fact, I've shared with you before that I've sued the Attorney General at the domestic level or the county attorney. That was a good friend of mine at that time, and I did not sue for worthless cash. I did not sue for anything that was created by the colonies because it has no value. The creations that you're creating, and there are many videos out there that there are manipulations. And of course, there are courts that are still in place. And whether you think that people have redress or recourse remedy, which is the lawful right, and they will, that is secured in terms of secured party creditor, not loosely termed. Secured party creditor is different from creditor, you see? So when you are secured, there are certain situations that we know that as a blatant act of or an action of contempt because of how these systems are interconnected domestically. Okay, so you have a registered agent, and what happened to your private sectors, you're bound by it. And even more when you say private or privet, okay? So the registered agent, I counted Department of Motor Vehicles. So most of y'all that are black, that on TikTok, that's giving Donald Trump and different people praise, the elders have always had the right of travel. That's within your Constitution for the United States, if you are in essence observing that. That has been, I've met so many elders, 20 years plus, that have already dealt or have held accountable the state on that specific liability. So I was the one that was able to flex a pulse in a way where they were able to bring up to the Department of Motor Vehicle 13.1-1015. The registered agent must be there to take service of process that they are bound by 100%, any degree, any type of letters or marks, all of that. That's what that is. Okay, so Virginia, I respect them. And of course, the Unitarian executive theory that Donald Trump initiated, or at least that's what's coming from his capacity, well, that's Virginia. And Virginia is the lesser seal, Mr. Trump, you see? And this is the great seal. So all of the colonies that get together, I respect you. But if you're really the big boss, then you and I need to be sitting together and talking. You comprehend what I'm saying to you. I have the utmost respect for everyone. However, that you that have what you may call private governments or private entities, you have contempt in a lot of ways, and you have breached what you cannot. And regardless to whether you think it's progression, it is not. We would always have what you may call a redress in terms or the remedy. All right. So I respect you. And I want to say to you all again that I'm listening to, as I said, a lot of the men that may call themselves black. Be careful and do your studies, and don't give praises to other things and to people that are not deserving. The right of travel in a mobile has been around since the beginning of the United States. And you have to comprehend that the United States is different from what you may call the American Republic, or in essence, a republic form government is different from Democrat, but neither pertains to I. See, I'm Aboriginal, so I have Aboriginal title, that specific government that is formed. See, in the terms of the process or the proceedings are the same. Aboriginal formed, you see, government, in essence, superior, not because I want to be, it's because that's the way it is. And it's disrespectful for a legal fiction to get authorization and to build up and to steal the sweat equity from people that work hard every day and take the tax and fund acts of criminality or essential terrorism and things that would put the environment at risk. See, and this is what the gimmick was with the United States Treasury. And I do respect Elon Musk and Donald Trump for finding those specific bad behaviors. We had already counted them in 2005. Okay. So 2005, the Virginia legislative body was counted by our grantor Lamont Belton. So what the Department of Government Efficiency is doing, Doge, is what I started off doing 20 years ago. And I'm still to date, and this is this court. So they're not telling you that I don't have to go to the Virginia or the what you may call the federal United States court, because it tells you here that there aren't any. In the United States, you go straight to the UCC jurisdiction here. And if there's a problem with Solicitor General, Attorney General, FBI, Department of Justice, Homeland Security, all of these people are under a specific performance and that they must behave a certain way. And if they breach that, that is civil bond. It's revocated. Okay? And it is connecting to your economic interest. All right. These are the things that I have trained and shared with most people, but you have the idolatrous community of Aboriginal indigenous people sometimes that may be filled with idolatry that want to come and then try to go back out and do something entirely different. You cannot. There's a standing on the landmass that predates us at this time, living on this planet. And my due diligence is to respect earthlings on this planet. And I would not go to another nation and disdain and undermine. And you can think that's weak if you're a leader elsewhere, a prime minister, king or queen, duke, duchess, whatever. Lord, masters, I speak to you, I being the same. However, I respect people, and people are the sovereign. And that specific plaintiff in this particular venue would have my respect that they are nothing less than that. But if they decide to step out of their glory, and become antagonistic and anti-constitutional, anti-social, anti-human, then of course you have disdained yourself and you've taken yourself out of the protection and the security of the divine. And of course the sequential, you may say harmonious relation. I don't like the root word harm, but you're no longer a part of the natural planet Earth family. Okay? So those of you all, we are aware that there's criminal activity. And as I said, there's a spiritual pulse that will hit the earth, planet Earth, and will bring everything to balance 100%. Now, you might hear about Christ and, Allah, and I respect that in its entirety. I'm with you all, and I love you, okay? Those that are religious, I respect you, and I care for you. Humbly, I say these things. I can tell you this, you would have a better chance at this court than any court or tribunal. I want you to know also that Aboriginal Consular Court and Consular Tribunal within the World Circuitry, I and Honorable Lee Clegg is at that level. I respect those that we have. I bring more revelation to you about the circuitry. But of course, it is a private or private court. And it is on a vouch system, meaning that you have to be vouched for to come here. I've had my experience with people, and most of them have a criminal nature and have gone into other type situations, which makes them rogue. And if I'm not hearing from you every day or every week, then you're on some other situation. You're not a bailiff. You're not a deputy if you're not checking in at least once a week. And I will get from you that you are existing, we are fine, blah, blah, blah. See, but now I get a video on a day of private entities and the vulnerabilities of certain things happening around the world. It is your fault, Aboriginal, that you have not done anything, or maybe you have. Did you do all the best that you could do, or did you take a bribe yourself? Huh? What type of programs are you in? What type of risk? Because here we know the origin and we know that there's only one way, all righty? And there's only one UCC that perfects interest within or in terms of blah, 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 this and that. Now, I'm not going to teach you because I've been familiar in navigating the UCC for a while, but I have put a lien on the universal or the Uniform Commercial Code and the Uniform Bonding Code. Yes, I have. All right. And I counted IACA, International Association of Corporate Administrators, Commercial Administrators. And I've counted the local NACUSO in terms of the National Conference Uniform, that Pacific situation. And I counted also the 1930 Geneva Convention, UCC. that was supposed to be with the Egyptians in terms of redemptions or whatever. It did not get to that point. So here we are today. And as I say to you, I have thoroughly checked the circuitry. I'm not one talking. I'm Grand Lamont Belton. And of course, I am a lawful justice as de jure. And these people that are colonialists, when you run your mouth and when you talk, it can be libel and slander, and you will get a bill. You will be processed. You will be prosecuted. This is the highest tribunal existing, I say, in the Americas, but it looks like on planet Earth, respectfully, because we're getting complaints from everywhere. And of course, most of your judiciaries are compromised. And we do know that. I would say to you today, those that are pretending to be judges, clean up your act and know that you are not powerful, that you are a servant. And judicial activism is illegal within your context while you are doing as you are doing. Now, I'm not going to preach to you because you can go back through the videos and you will see a consistency pertaining to my character. All righty, so this is love to you back. And as I said, to AI and all of what's being created, you are bound by Aboriginal title, and you are bound by the facts that there was a colony that had come into our land, and there are an abundance of systems and laws that exist that keeps to that fact. This is why the registered agent does exist. So sometimes you have frustrated people that may be Caucasian or colonialists from a Pacific people that want help in the government. Well, those are my brothers and sisters as well. So they're welcome to this court, Aboriginal Consular Court and Consular Tribunal. Those are the good Europeans or colonies that want to do right. We have begun to talk, and they have a relationship with these ones. And of course, respects out to be to Africa, respects out to Asia, everywhere that we are navigating. There may be good relations or halfway, or you're working on it, but we're doing our due diligence, not to fake. And I'm giving you the facts. So those of you to think that certain trust was left to you, certain things may have disappeared permanently, and you may have to start over, okay? Because there is a lot of congestion, a lot of ill will things that have taken place, and it's best for you to handle yourself and know what pertains to you and what does not. All righty? Our respects be to you at almost 18 minutes. I didn't want to be that long-winded. Hopefully, I just wanted to emphasize to you again that Aboriginal title has always been active, and there's no one that is colonial, even in terms of the presidency, that pertains to the United States. It's a corporation that has a registered agent. All right? Doge is an internal operation that is doing a good job within that mechanism that they were supposed to do, whether it was Democrat or whether it was Republican. You were to always have good standing in a clean operation. But it's a service administration. It is not a government. And if they will say these things, then they would tell the truth. What type of government would the United States have? I mean, I see what Donald Trump is doing, and there's a lot of dismantling and stuff. But of course, you got to comprehend that there was a renegade government, and a renegade government takes by threats, coercion, and force tax, and force people to fines, to prisons. All right? You see? So if there's a dismantling, be very attentive on what is, and don't conclude. But the more that you study simple as a child, you would see, okay, I comprehend what's going on. Correct. You talked about the great whore of Babylon falling. Well, you know, is that what's happening? Is there removals of certain things that are not pertinent to? And then we have to comprehend maybe people trying to assert themselves elsewhere, and maybe there's an attempt of hijack, which is unsuccessful. Because why? The mind sets forth on this unified field. And of course, if you are not right, whether you think you have militaries or not, there will be a force that will bring you into what you know to be what is right. Not what you know to be what's right. What you know is right before you were born. This is a landmass that people were here that are looking such as I, and I must stand for them, and I respect them. So I have promulgation, which is a sequence of laws that bound you, that are already connecting to your vessel publicly, in terms of you being that public vessel. And if you are sovereign and you are foreign from elsewhere, well, we have something that can captivate or either let that specific foreign entity know that there is a certain obligation. And of course, the proceedings does exist here. So one more thing I heard about somebody talking about the UCC and, where there's a difference between a commercial lien and UCC. Well, it's the same. One of the people talked about that. And, mortgages, which are those companies that are illegal. And of course, there's not no such thing as debt. So we have to comprehend that when that was said, I put a lien on the UCC system because of that. The UCC was not appropriate if it doesn't have what you may call an international tribunal that respects all people. And it will go beyond a certain people or a certain way of life. Like I can't run this as, oh, this is for Hebrews, this is for Moors, this is for Jews, this is for Rosicrucians. This is a court or a tribunal that counteracts malfeasance. Do you comprehend that? Much respects be to you all in the highest. And I do love you. As I said to you, Grant Lamont Belton, transmitted from the great city of Perserverando, Seminole Pacta Sun Servanda, and Lex Jurisprudence de Jure Priesthood. All liberties reserved.